Hi, welcome back to the Idaho 4 case coverage. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. We'll be looking at Bryan Kohberger today, look at the latest news, try and catch up with it all, because I've not covered it for a few days now. There are a few different articles to get through today. One's to do with the property, the crime scene, updates regarding that. Another one, some kind of comparison or talk reference to the BTK serial killer from the past, once again creeping on in. And then the other one is to do with revealing the cost of if Bryan Kohberger received the death penalty, how much it would cost to follow through with. So we just read through them, check the details, see what it's all about. If there are a few parts where it might be a little bit too repetitive, we'll kind of glance over it. Hopefully you understand that, because I know with the Dylan Rounds case, we kind of go over that over and over, but with the Idaho 4 articles, it's very repetitive in some areas, so there's no need to constantly go over it, okay? As well, shout out to people last night for watching the different videos, good of them, and I can't remember, dodgy memory, but shout out if there was any super chats here or there, it's good of them. So what we can do first of all is just catch up with the comments of last night's video, okay? Answer any questions, see where we are from there. It's not to do with Idaho 4 yet, that'll be later on in this video, so feel free to stick around to hearing about that, right? I will provide a link down below in the pinned comment section if you wish to check my previous videos out, so you can do that if you want. And as well, whilst we go throughout this whole video, make sure to make use of the live chat on the right hand side of the screen, live chat box, and just share your thoughts, opinions then, reactions. I'd say we've done a very good job in recent time going from certain events of chaos to things being controlled and normal. Such an extreme change in a very short space of time, which is one of the most perfect examples I've seen in a while. So that's all good. So let's look back at the comments and then go from there. Right, so I'm just going to adjust it to the newest. Start from the bottom. Don't worry, we haven't got too many comments to get through. Badger Life, first of all, saying, is it normal to apologise to the deceased, or am I the odd one? I mean, in general, you might have had situations in the past where different event, different occurrence, where a person might have accidentally taken somebody out, not on purpose, and then they've gone to the individual's grave and apologised and spoke to them, kind of like what you might see in films or TV shows. But in regards to what Badger is talking about here, applying it to Zavgil's situation, and let me know your updated thoughts, Badger Life, but Zavgil's apology was more aimed at the family and the true crime community. It wasn't like a direct one-on-one apology with Gannon Storch. It was the family and the community as a whole. Is there a particular reason for that? Maybe it was just to cover all angles to please as many people as possible, maybe. Obviously, in the end, it didn't seem to go down too well from like what we saw, the responses on the post, the comments, etc. Will the apology video ever be taken down? I don't think so personally, because if she took it down, then it seems like she's backtracking on stuff and it would just make her worse off and it would lead to more questioning. Really, the only thing she can do is move forwards and just, her herself, cross her fingers that it doesn't drag on this. But as you know, there will be people that won't forget. It's one of those things, unfortunate. Anything else? We've got someone called Nothing Compares. I don't know who that person is. They've got a profile picture of two dogs, one with a tongue out. Looks like good dogs. Yeah, so shout out to them. New viewer from the looks of it. We got Cleo saying, respectfully taking in our opinion speaks highly of this channel. Also, apologies to the chat for not being on whatever today. So, Cleo, last night when you said you were seeing 3 of everything, what do you mean, like double vision, triple vision, something like that? How is it now? Has it got better? Let me know as well. week all over. I usually have Jodie info on lock, just so out of it today. Focus, non-existent. Maybe another day you can focus back on it or cover a video of it. Like, you know, one thing you could do. So Cleo, when you say you're going to do videos or upload it on a particular case, what you could do, Cleo, is find the right time, the right place, the right moment where you are in the mood, where you are focused, whether it be write notes down or not, do a video, cover that stuff, and then once it's uploaded, private or public, whichever, then down the line, if you need to refer back to it, and when you feel weak, when you feel confused, when your mind isn't on point, you can just look back at that video and refer to it because it's documented, it's covered in your own words or text, and you can always refer back to it, right? Instead of fumbling around with maybe notes where it might be a bit harder to organise them, right? Move on. Christy, missed the premiere, watching now, that's okay. Come on, Christy, keep up! Get in that chariot and start getting the reins on the horse moving. Don't know what that's about, to be honest. Saying thanks for the answer to my comment on the last video. Never doubted you having it all in control. Appreciate it. Shout out to Christy. Okay. Here's this person. Roxanne, I am awake. Make sure you get some sleep too. They say Zav Girl is disgusting. Do I think Zav Girl is disgusting? I've not covered or followed Zav Girl, you know, in terms of long periods of time. I've never really watched her videos, so I can't really come to a definitive, strong conclusion like that. But I guess I can understand why other people would if they have witnessed the likes of Zav Girl do other questionable stuff in the past. But I didn't witness it myself, so I'm limited to what I can say, right? But shout out to Roxanne for popping on into the chat, new viewer. What do we have here? Deizu Kaniwa. Is that like Japanese anime? I probably said it wrong. They're saying that, I could be wrong here, but would it be considered that since she had pics of a... So it's good of this person to... How do you call it? Censor their words, because you know what YouTube can be like. I get that. Would it be considered it? Well, I don't know. It's like, from what Zav Girl said, not everything was on show. That people made up rumours and exaggerated some of the stuff to make it seem worse than it was. I can imagine some people, though, would agree that it is that and it's illegal, but then other people probably say it's bad what Zav Girl did, but it doesn't fall under that category. I think it's kind of mixed, to be honest, how people react to it or how what people label it as. I can't give my opinion, really, because, you know, you'd have to see the photos to come to that judgment. But then again, if you go to that point where you see the photos, then it could make you look bad, and then you're in a hole now. So kind of like a lose-lose situation, right? You either presume or assume this, which could be right, but at times could be wrong. And then the only other way to really know is to experience it. But then if you experience it, then you're considered a bad person then. So tricky. What else do we have here, though? Autumn Fragrance, new viewer popping on in. The positive is here. I'm seeing a couple of new people leaving comments, most likely because of covering the Zav Girl situation. So people from over there come on here, share their thoughts. It's useful, right? Because even though it's indirect, they could come along, comment, but also be interested in true crime. They notice you have a true crime case or cases I've covered. They might check into it and then share their own thoughts and opinions, and then it could lead on to new ideas. There's a lot of possibilities that can happen through this. So it's positive. Even when I do those short videos in the background with the football gameplay, completely unrelated, completely different topic, but those videos might sound weird to some people, actually perform much better than my normal videos. But it's just, you know, how it is. But if you can get people in from different areas, different topics and themes, and they can cross on over to here, then, you know, they can share their new ideas. And sometimes you need new people every now and then to like refresh a case so it's not too repetitive. Let me know if you agree. Autumn Fragrance says here, the core of Christianity is forgiveness and redemption. People pay for Patreon to see more content than public news media, and she was only charging $3 to cover her editing and admin time. The photos were put behind a paywall for a reason. Nobody who did not want to see the photos saw the photos. Right. So this person is basically saying no one forced anyone to seek out those photos. I think one of the main underlying problems other people have with it, though, is that if it's somewhat accessible, even if it is behind a paywall, you will always get those fanatics out there that'll do whatever it takes, even if it means paying, to get hold of those photos and then maybe share it elsewhere, such as sharing it to the family, the people impacted, the victims. And then that can get a bit messy. Sure, Zavgirl herself may not go to that extreme of getting a hold of the photos and then reposting them back to the family. I don't think Zavgirl would do that, but the general public, the audience, some of them are very capable. And I think that's the underlying problem here, I guess. As well, just to add on in, when Zavgirl said herself during that interview that if she was to post them on YouTube instead, she would make more money from there. She's kind of like justifying why, by not doing it, it's not all about money, right? But what I'd respond back with, I think it's incorrect what Zavgirl states, that if she did upload the stuff onto YouTube, she wouldn't have made more money, right? Why? Because YouTube probably would have taken the video down very shortly afterwards. People would have reported it. It would have led to a channel being taken down as well, possibly. It would have had a worse knock-on effect. And even just posting the video to begin with, likely YouTube would have limited and restricted the video for not following guidelines because it's of a sensitive topic, right? That's what would immediately happen, which would mean monetization is kind of like taken away virtually, the most part of it. So I don't think it would have worked out better if she did do it on YouTube. It would have been significantly worse for her and her actual YouTube channel. If you saw what happened to a Patreon page, just imagine what would have happened to a YouTube channel if the content was posted on that platform, you know? Whatever says, I totally agree. She never should have done it, but man, cancel culture is rough these days. I think her apology was emotionless. Not that she had to cry, but there was no inflection and very monotone. Fair enough. Fair point. I truly believe she's a narcissist. I'm talking about Letitia Staunch. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a joke, but there are like some people out there maybe on YouTube that are classified as uncancelable. Is that even a word? Basically where people can't be cancelled, that they're immune to it. I don't know how it exactly works, either because they don't react or they don't apologise, they just keep on doing what they're doing. Maybe it's that. But yeah, when it does come to the whole cancelling stuff, it tends to lead to an apology being made afterwards and an attempt of getting back in people's good books. And, you know, sometimes you got no choice but to do those apologies. It's not good. Sometimes it can make you worse off. I guess it all depends what positions people are in. If someone else out there who is pretty well off in a comfortable position and they get cancelled, they can fight for it and think, oh, well, screw it, I'll just keep on going because I've not got much to lose. So I guess it varies from person to person, right? When it came to Zavgirl, would I say she's been cancelled? I wouldn't say yet. If a channel was taken down, then we could possibly say that. I think when it's ultimately defined as cancel culture, maybe is when a particular channel ends up walking away from their own channel. A person walks away from their channel. I have seen that with some of the more well-known popular YouTubers throughout the years. I think when you walk away, then you acknowledge that cancel culture has won. If you resist against it within the right reasons and the right position, then you might be able to overcome it. Okay. What else do we have here? White Dove. Also, just in general, shout out to White Dove. Welcome back for commenting again in the channel. It's good of you to reappear. Say, this happened not far from where I used to live. So sad what she did to... Okay, that's interesting that. So, this happened not far from where I used to. Oh, used to. I get that. Right. Christy... I think the main issue here is that Gannon was a younger age. Yeah, nobody would have been shocked if it was an adult autopsy. Probably. We have to protect young people where it's still possible to protect them. Zav Girl has definitely crossed an ethical line, and it is even worse because she is an adult woman and she should have a bit of an instinct to protect kids. I never really followed her. I have seen maybe half of a live of the Watts case, I believe. I have no patience for long lives. She made some good points, but it's not even about her. It's about decency and ethics of YouTubers who work on true crime. As an adult, you should be able to understand where the line is, and more important, you should have the balls to say, sorry, I made a mistake without finding thousands of excuses and learn from it. In my opinion, Zav Girl is not capable of this, and it makes it even worse. Yeah, I get that, definitely. That's why she calls herself Zav Girl, not Zav Woman. Face green smiling. Oh, did Christy try inserting an emoji there or something? I don't know. So, concluding my long comment, sorry, Rafi, it's okay. I want to say that every adult should be free to have access to every photo of every topic they're interested in, even if the rest of the world does not understand or agree or finds it deranged. But let's not cross this imaginary ethical line on YouTube when it comes to younger people. It's our responsibility. That's what I love about your channel, Warlight Raf. You go in depth with every single detail, but you've always kept that decency and respect for everyone, even for us dodgy chatters. I thank you for this. You're doing a great job. The deranged ones will annihilate themselves with time. I don't mention the other YouTuber, Natasha, or whatever. Her apology was arrogant and ignorant, and I never heard of her anyway. I also vomited before your premiere finished, so I probably repeat things you already said. Well, if you do vomit, just make sure you got a bucket and you empty it every now and then, and maybe clean it out as well. It should be fine, Christy. So shout out to Christy, good comment, good words, yep. It wasn't too long, to be fair. I've read longer ones. And, oh, Christy once again. I mean, it's about YouTube. Zav is known on YouTube, no idea how Patreon works, but she used her fame on YouTube to do what she did. Okay. So that seems to be it for the comments. I just wanted to go over them, although it's not to do with Idaho 4, I just wanted to keep up to date with these, so... it helps answer some people's questions and stuff like that. Now, let's move on to the main talking points of today. So yeah, with the Idaho 4 case, Bryan Kohberger, where do we begin? I mean, just as a little heads up to, just in case people have forgotten or whatever, and we can also refer to Dylan Rounds because that one occurs first. When it comes to the court cases, court appearances, as we know, with the Idaho 4 one, Bryan Kohberger, originally, the next court hearing was the 2nd of October, but it did say in one of the news articles, expect it to be delayed further, pushed back. Is it a guarantee? I don't know, but possibilities, right? There's all kinds of stuff going on in the background. Just want to let you know so you're not disappointed or anticipating it only to be let down by it doesn't happen, okay? When it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, and James Brenner's next court hearing, supposed to be the 31st of July, upcoming, right? But it was Glorindellen that said it's been delayed, I believe, till the 14th of August, okay? So you've seen across different boards, different cases, constantly being pushed back. Is that a normal thing? Just let me know your thoughts. Through all the cases you followed and looked at, is it normal for it to be delayed over and over again? I mean, I guess the difference is with Bryan Kohberger and James Brenner is with James Brenner, they're still fiddling around with the attorneys. They haven't even really got into the main part of the actual case itself. Whereas with the Idaho 4 one, a bit more progress has been made in a sense, right? So if we put that aside, I did see one comment by someone in recent times saying that he'll probably walk free, Bryan Kohberger, that he'll just be released just like that. If that did happen, it could end very bad in some people's mindsets. More people could be impacted down the line if that is true, based off that Kohberger was responsible in some way or another, but for some reason he was able to be freed, let go. My question is to people watching right now, okay? Let's say it was Bryan Kohberger and only Bryan Kohberger responsible for the Idaho 4 case, took 4 people out. Let's say there wasn't enough evidence upon him, so he was released, maybe for a short span of time, let's say, or a bit longer. And then what if Bryan Kohberger reoffended again and took a few more people out within the same day? 2 separate times, multiple people taken out over a course of time. Would that then qualify Kohberger for being a serial killer? I'm just trying to make sense of it, because most of the serial killers I've heard or seen of, they've killed at least 3-4 people over a course of time, not all in one day. And then they've been caught, arrested, taken in. Is the other qualifying factor that you got to take multiple people out before you get caught? Or is it possible to take the odd person out and then get arrested and then repeat again down the line, but take a few more people out? Would that count as being a serial killer? I don't know. As I said, most of the serial killers I've seen or heard of, they've done what they've done over a span of time, and then they've got in trouble and been caught out, and then that's been the end. So unless we see a different version this time round, who knows? But all I would say is, even if the court proceedings are a bit delayed, it feels like not enough progress is being made quick enough. People want justice right here, right now. The only positive you could say is where Bryan Kohberger is, the general public are safe at this moment in time. Kohberger isn't in open world, isn't surrounded by general public, so there won't be any issues there at this moment in time. That's something at least. But I think what we need to do more so is look at the news, the latest news, have a catch up, see where we're at. Maybe some of you might know about it, others don't. I'll try and share my thoughts, opinions on the matters, and you can react to it in the live chat. We've got about 3 different articles to get through. We'll begin with one right now and then later transition on to the next, and then maybe come to a conclusion, okay? So the first title of this article reads, Bryan Kohberger's defense, prosecutors, no objection to demolishing crime scene, which is the Idaho 4 house. Posted at 8:37 p.m. July 12, 2023 by Ivy Brown, Moscow, Idaho. Prosecutors and Bryan Kohberger's defense have no objection to the crime scene where 4 University of Idaho students were killed being demolished, according to emails obtained by Court TV. I mean, it's not a surprise, Bryan Kohberger's defense and stuff. Fine, just get on with it. Maybe it's because they don't want it standing, because in case something is found. But you see the photo there. This November 19, 2022 photo. So at the time of it happening, you see the crime scene tape around it. Yeah. The off-campus rental home is the Moscow, was donated to the university after the killings in February. The school announced plans to demolish the home. A demolition date has not been set, but the school has said it wants to tear the home down before the start. Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, Kohberger charged with the deaths of those people, yeah. As Kohberger's October 2nd trial date approaches, there had been objections made about plans to demolish the scene from the victims' families. Interesting how it says here, October 2nd trial date approaches. No word or mention about it being delayed, yet a previous article said it could be delayed. Shannon Gray, attorney for the family of Kaylee Goncalves, told the Idaho Statesman that the university is ignoring the family's request to leave the home standing until after the trial. Prosecutors, however, have no objection to demolishing the scene in an email. By Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson told the university in quotes, "We have discussed this among ourselves and with the investigation leadership and have no objection to UI proceeding as you outlined. As you know, the court has already released a scene from LE custody based on the stipulation of parties. The scene has been substantially altered from its condition at the time of the homicides, including removal of relevant property and furnishings, removal of some structural items such as wallboard and flooring, and subjected to extensive chemical application, creating a potential health hazard." Wow. These are some of the reasons that a jury view would not be appropriate. I get that. So, like, if the jury was to go down, if they did go inside or start inspecting it, it could be a bit dangerous. Fair enough. In an email dated April 5th, 2023, Public Defender Annie Taylor, representing Kohberger, also told the university, in quotes, "I'm writing to let you know that the defence has no objection to the university proceedings as it sees fit with the residents on King Road. Previously, the defence agreed to release the property. Upon communication with the university, we were asked to weigh in on the demolition of the premises. We appreciate the accommodation of one final walkthrough. After the walkthrough, our team has discussed the demolition of the premises again and have no objection." Would it be one of those cases where one side wants it taken down as soon as possible compared to the other because they might find something? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. On Wednesday, the University of Idaho announced it would delay the demolition of the house until October in a statement. Okay, Wednesday. Announced a delay until October because 2nd of October is the next court hearing case. Okay. But what happens if it is delayed? So when it comes to 2nd of October and it's pushed back, will the delaying of the demolition of the house be delayed as well further or not? Makes you think. It says in a statement, University President Scott Green said, "Every action and decision around this horrific incident is painful and invokes emotions. That is why every decision we have made this far is with the families of the victims and our students in mind." A spokesperson for the university told Court TV's Chanley Painter that the school chose to delay until October because of the trial's current scheduled start date. The spokesperson said if the trial is delayed, the school would reconsider at that point. Okay. So it is bringing it all into play now. That's good. Kohberger's case is due back in court August 18th for a motions hearing. Recently, a judge issued a brief stay in the case to give the defence adequate time to review the grand jury transcript. There's another photo again, different angle. I just want to add one thing, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, unless this is like a side photo of the place. Let's check. File. Bare spots are seen on November 29th, 2022 in the snowy parking lot in front of the home where it took place. After vehicles belonging to the victims and others were towed away earlier in the day, University of Idaho officials said Friday, February 24th, 2023, the house will be demolished and that the owner of the home in Moscow offered to give the home to the university and the university accepted. Okay. But this photo, I'm sure when you go on Google Earth, it's not blurred out, but it's actually the building next to it. Unless it's just at a different angle where this photo was taken. I mean, if there is time, I'll just go on it afterwards and just see. Okay, so bear with me. Yeah, I guess there's no harm because if it has been blurred out already, it's been blurred out. I'll just have to see if I can find it first of all, right? I'll just see what I can do. Let's move on. Oh, is that it here? Right, so at least for now, it's delayed. That's something, I guess. See what happens next, what they take into consideration. We move on to this one. Hopefully it works. There we go. Oh, maybe not. Sometimes it doesn't like it when I go into the reader mode. A little bit naughty. Don't want that. Hold on. Why is it not going to show the reader? Apologies if there is any sound playing in the background. Apologies about that. I don't think it will let me use the reader on this website, so that's annoying. But the article reads, Bryan Kohberger's death penalty would cost $1 million more than life in prison. That says a lot. By Michael Ruiz. Okay. Can I put the reader mode on? Nope, it just won't let me at all. Okay. Seeking the death penalty rather than life imprisonment for Idaho student murder suspect Bryan Kohberger could cost taxpayers an additional $1 million if he is convicted, according to a new report. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Do you think $1 million is pretty costly? Is it worth it? Or does it make more sense saving money, but also making sure that Kohberger suffers longer by serving life in prison? What do you think is the best method? I mean, the wishes of some of the victims' families want the death penalty over and done with, right? So I guess you got to acknowledge those wishes too. But sometimes, kind of like with the Dylan Rounds case, when you look at Brenner, people were saying, well, family wanted death penalty there. But other people were thinking outside of the box, saying, if you want Brenner to suffer, he's got to be in general population with other prisoners and, left there for as long as possible. So it's slow and the person suffers and has time to think about what they've done and so on, so on. But yeah, guess it differs from opinion. It goes on to say Latah County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson notified the court and the defense on June 26 that his office intended to seek death if Kohberger is convicted in the November 2022 slayings. Convicted killers stack up hefty medical bills as they await execution. Example being Gerald Pizzuto, a 67-year-old inmate, has been on death row in Idaho since 1986, whilst battling numerous health conditions, including most recently terminal cancer. His post-sentencing incarceration has cost taxpayers $1.3 million, according to Idaho Statesman. So, to be honest, they're saying so far it's cost $1.3 million for a person that's been on death row since 1986. Yet this article is saying that the cost of the death penalty and stuff with Kohberger would be an additional $1 million. And Kohberger is only 28 at this moment in time, and they're already saying that it's going to cost $1 million. So how much more could it rise down the line if there are medical bills included too to keep the person alive? Wow. Here we go. It says, in addition to the legal delays keeping inmates on death row longer, there is also a shortage of lethal injections, which prompted Idaho to reinstate the firing squad earlier this year. The state's longest-serving death row inmate has been held for more than 40 years with a tab of $1.5 million. There's Kohberger. Kohberger, 28, was a criminology PhD student. Yeah, we've seen that. Knife used, yeah, with DNA upon it. Authorities have not publicly revealed a potential motive for the massacre, but they gave conflicting statements early in the investigation about whether the house or someone inside had been targeted. According to court documents, Kohberger allegedly stalked the King Road rental home a dozen times before the murders and returned once more hours after the slayings, but before police arrived. Okay. Judge entered not guilty pleas on his behalf to all charges of Kohberger's arraignment in May. A different judge ordered him held without bond in January after his arrest in Pennsylvania, where he is from. Prosecutors then had 60 days to decide whether they would seek the death penalty. In quotes, "I'm not surprised," said Naima Ramani, a former federal prosecutor and Los Angeles-based trial attorney, said after Thompson's office made the announcement, "This is one of the most heinous murders in Idaho state history." That is saying something. Oh, it says that Kaylee Goncalves had a TikTok page, kind of like Dylan Rounds with the Dylan Rounds case. Quick question, okay? Because I haven't looked. There would be no reason for me to look anyway. But can anyone confirm whether or not these different social media accounts, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc., the people that were killed during the Idaho 4 case, are their social media accounts still publicly viewable? Yes? No? Let me know in the chat. The reason why I say that is, if they were left open and publicly viewable with all the contents, photos and videos from the past, is it appropriate? Is it normal? I don't know. You know, sometimes in the past, people, families would get a hold of the accounts and then lock them, shut them down or privatize them to prevent anyone leaving nasty messages on the post on that page, or, you know, trying to send direct messages, you know, to avoid all that. I just want to know here, has the same happened or not? Anyway, what else does it say? Okay, in quotes, there are many aggravating factors supporting the imposition of death penalty, including multiple victims who were brutally and senselessly stabbed. A 6-week trial is scheduled to begin on October 2nd. 6 weeks, well. The prosecution's intent to seek the death penalty come on the same day Kohberger's defense team claimed their client had no connection with the victims. If that was the case, then why is the supposedly social media activity of Kohberger with some of those victims then, like, looking onto their social media platforms? There's the guy, Bill Thompson, with his beard. The defense team took issue with the prosecution's DNA collection and use of genetic genealogy. Defense attorney Jay Lodgson wrote in a court filing that DNA from 3 other unidentified males was found at the crime scene, including on a glove outside the home, which stands at the edge of campus and the heart. They're talking about the home itself. Yeah, okay. The defense also questioned the tracking of a white Hyundai, but I think they say Hyundai. Well, dodgy word. Sedan authorities say links Kohberger to murders. Okay. No matter what came first, the car or the genetic genealogy, the investigation has provided precious little. Kohberger's defense team argued there is no connection between Kohberger and the victims. However, according to prosecutors, DNA found on the knife sheath discovered next to Mogen's body contained Kohberger's DNA. But it wasn't next to her body, it was underneath it, supposedly. So it's kind of worded differently to what I've seen. So just in my opinion, when it comes to the cost of that all, as well as the factor of getting justice, as well as, you know, keeping Kohberger off the streets, you know, he is truly guilty and a dangerous individual, the best balance I would say is death penalty. I understand it from the family's point of view, maybe through kind of the same methods of death because of what Kohberger did to their sons, daughters, etc., right? But if you want someone to suffer by having them locked up away from things they may enjoy doing and stuff, and they still have to be alive, and also maybe surrounded by other people which could annoy them, it can be more wearing down the line. You know, you can make them pay more that way. If you do like a lethal injection or a firing squad, it's over and done with quick. But then again, some people may just want to move on quick and not be reminded of that person's still alive, wherever. I think as well, you probably got to take in mind the age factor as well. Sure, okay, maybe it might say life in prison, that's it, game over completely. But if for whatever reason down the line, for whatever reason, who knows, where the sentence could be lessened for whatever reason, and he could be released down the line, that would be problematic in its own right. So I guess if like the individual responsible in this case was like 60 or 70, maybe the death penalty wouldn't be needed as much because the person's getting on already. But for Kohberger to be 28, still young, possibilities down the line, right? So I can understand that. As for that DNA, that additional stuff, will he ever get to the bottom of it? It just seems kind of important, right? Just to simply get an idea of who those people were, those 3 males. Like, what I would say is, if they weren't suspicious, they weren't involved, nor were they witnesses, let's just say, then why are they so quiet? Why haven't they reached out? It doesn't make sense. Whoever those 3 males are, I'm sure they've probably read in the news about their DNA or some unknown DNA being found in the building or just outside. Those males know who they are, but not coming forth. It makes you think, why aren't they coming forth? Either A, they're scared, they've been threatened to stay silent, or B, they're responsible in some way, right? That's the only way I see it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section or the live chat. What do you think about this unknown DNA? And, the glove that was found outside of the house near to the window, why was a glove found there? Was it dropped accidentally? Probably. Was the individual wearing the gloves at the time, whether it be entering or exiting out the window? And why were they near the window anyway, right? There's a lot of questions, of course, right? When you think of burglary, you think of stalking the area, surveying it. It's been said that Kohberger did that himself earlier on, right? But why is there a glove near a window and it belongs to another individual out there? That individual out there, where's their other glove? Why was only one left behind? Likely because it dropped out the pocket of the person's coat, jacket, trousers, something like that. I don't think it would have just fallen off if the person was wearing it on their hands, because they would have to pull them off and then drop it on the floor. And I don't think that would make any sense, right? To just drop one and hold the other one, keep it. So it's more accidental, it being left behind. An accident, a slip up, but it's not led to the person being punished for it. Yet someone like Kohberger, with the sheath, found, was it on the bed? And then one of the victims, Mogan, if I'm correct in saying, was lying half on top of it or so. So the sheath dropped first, and then they either fell on it or rolled on over onto it, something like that. But with that DNA, tracing it back, Kohberger being questioned, taken in. Other two males' DNA, did it explain where that DNA was found within the house? On the walls, on a handle, door? I don't think it really said. On any specific objects, which floor, which room? Does that give any of that away? Like, the main victims, the ones that have been taken out, right, you can't ask them any questions. It's obviously not possible. But it was said that there was two other people that managed to escape, right, from the building. Have they ever been questioned in regards to the DNA of the three other males that were present? Do they know who those three guys were, when they appeared, when they left? They were responsible in some way or another. I don't know. Just seems like there's a few grey areas that if they were and was successful in the early days, it could have led to better clarity, I would say. We can do a poll right now. The poll can be actually, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, did I do a poll about this in the past? I'm not quite sure. I think, well, do you know what? We'll do it maybe in a two-parter, we'll just see. First poll can be, do you feel that the DNA of the three other unknown males link to this case being responsible themselves? Yes, no, innocent? Feel free to vote right now. And then if there's time, I'll follow it up with, if it was more successful finding this DNA, would it have any impact on Kohberger himself? Would it make him innocent or still guilty? But that can be a later poll later on, right? And feel free to vote then. What we are going to do now is move on to the next news article, see what that's all about, and analyse, okay? Here we are, the title of this article reads, BTK killer would see Idaho suspect Bryan Kohberger as weak loser after link between two men, criminologist says. Right, so BTK being the guy on the left. BTK stands for bind, torture and kill. It's not his actual name, it's more of a nickname and title given to him. Kind of like how you got the chessboard killer, the Zodiac killer, the gorilla killer, etc. Kohberger being on the right there. I mean, Kohberger's face is very shiny. I don't know how old BTK is, maybe 72 or something. Right, let's just see what this is all about anyway. A criminologist has exclusively revealed to the US Sun that Bryan Kohberger would be seen as a loser by the infamous serial killer he has been linked to. So we're continuing on from that. So what? BTK finds it insulting that Kohberger is being compared to him. I mean, is any of this really necessary? We'll read it anyway just to come to a conclusion, but is it really needed at this moment in time? Investigative criminologist and leading true crime author Christopher Berry D has published a number of books giving an insight into the minds of serial killers. There he is. Right, there's BTK. Does it give a time? No, it doesn't. Has he got Crocs on? Or sandals? Odd footwear. He has sat face to face with the most notorious killers and has now turned his attention to the accused Idaho killer. Kohberger, 28, charged with all that. Yep. Last month, the daughter of infamous serial killer BTK, also known as Dennis Rader, or is it Denise? Whichever, told Fox News how she believes there is a link between her father and Kohberger. Oh, that's a bit odd. In quotes, it's very common for people in the public or criminology students, especially to correspond with my father via letters and sometimes talk to him on the phone, Rader's daughter, Kerry Rawson, told Fox News. Wow, saying it's common, general public and criminology students to just write a letter and talk to him. I mean, yeah, I know it'll be that thing of understanding the killer, understanding the mind, but considering we've been talking about Zav Girl recently and how, interest there, people wanting to see photos of this, photos of that, it's bad. But then maybe fantasizing about serial killers, writing letters is in its own right, in its own way, a little bit unusual too. I mean, I know of someone in the past, that decided to reach out to some inmate in the US, a prisoner, and write a letter to them. This person was from a completely different country, but they reached out to a inmate from the US. I have no idea why. No idea at all. I don't know who it was, that inmate, but random stuff can happen, right? Other than this, the pair were also taught by and worked with the same serial killer expert. Kohberger received his master's degree in criminal justice at DeSales University, where he was a student of forensic psychology professor Catherine Ramsland, a known expert in serial killers who has written several books. Ramsland worked with Rader on an autobiography. In quotes, since Dr. Ramsland had a long-term academic intimate relationship with my father and a personal friendship, I wouldn't be surprised if Kohberger at least tried to contact my father or had contact, Rawson said. But would he though? If Kohberger did that, then it would confirm that Kohberger is guilty, right? And if Kohberger truly believes he's innocent or he's trying to put on an act that he is innocent by reaching out to someone like the BTK killer, who's a serial killer who has been charged with murders of people, and it's only just going to confirm people's suspicions and ideas that, Kohberger is the one guilty. So I don't think he would reach out unless it was down the line when he has been charged, sent down, and imprisoned, right? It says here, she added, we don't have proof of it, but we would need to see letters at Kohberger's home or at my father's jail cell. In an interview, Rader said that he can relate to Kohberger. However, he said that he never spoke with the former PhD student. Berry D called the links to Professor Catherine Ramsland as tenuous, but noted that it is not unusual for students or even professors of criminology to correspond with convicted serial killers. He added, I'd say the same thing regarding Dennis Lynn Rader, also known as BTK. It is all speculative nonsense. Oh, Dennis Lynn Rader. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, hold on. Let's just go back up here. Because wasn't it saying about the daughter? I just want to make sure I've got it right. Rader's daughter, Carrie Rawson. Ah, okay. Okay. It's just the way it was worded early on. I get that now. Right, what else do we have? In quotes, there is absolutely nothing to suggest that Kohberger wanted BTK as a role model or to copycat BTK's crimes. Well, even if it was copycat, it didn't work because it wasn't in the sense of a serial killer. Kohberger isn't a serial killer because it doesn't fall under that category because it was all done in one day. The criminologist suggested that it's not beyond comprehension that Kohberger wanted to learn out of curiosity and student interest how BTK got away with his crimes. But I thought not long ago there was that comparison between Ted Bundy and Kohberger, but now we're going to BTK. Are we just doing like a full circle? Oh, bit of Ed Gein. Oh, bit of John Wayne Gacy. Oh, a little bit of Zodiac Killer. Oh, a little bit of whoever else. I can't think of all the names at the time. Oh, let's have a trip down H.H. Holmes. Like, what is going on here? But then again, you're studying criminology, you're going to be looking at multiple different cases. And I guess it depends. What was Kohberger looking at, studying, researching into? Any one particular or a wide range of different killers? And then that's what led to him being influenced in some sense. It says here, Berry D concluded that had Radar been in contact with Kohberger, he would believe him to be a weak-willed loser. The author said, having studied Rader's psychopathology in depth, I'd say that the highly ego-driven master serial killer Rader would look down on the weak-willed loser Kohberger as a lightweight in the grand scheme of things, and to view him as a loser because he was arrested so quickly. Yeah, competitiveness. I get it. Rader is serving a life sentence for murdering 10 people over the course of 2 decades before his capture in 2005. Got away with it for quite some time. Taking out 10 people, is that a lot over the course of 2 decades? What, that 20 years? I'm correct in saying 20 years, 10 people killed? Well, if you do check online, there will be others out there that have taken out more. I think maybe Ted Bundy taking out more as well. Oh, who's the other one? It's weird when you think on the spot, you can't think of all the names. The guy with the glasses, Jeffrey Dahmer, took more people out as well. Then who's the other one? Pedro Lopez, some either Mexican or Colombian guy that took out over like 300 people or something. That's the biggest serial killer out there, and that was way back then. I mean, this is the other thing you got to think of. Maybe nowadays you'll get less serial killers just simply because of the rise of technology, right? And CCTV surveillance can't get away with things as much nowadays. Can't be on the run for as long because of all the tracking and DNA and forensics and all of that. Whereas obviously back then in the past, you could get away with more. So that's why you might see a decline with serial killers out there, where it be just the offences being committed reducing or the length of time undetected reducing until the court. It says, the criminologist previously told the US Sun that Kohberger has a serious character flaw which could point to a potential motive. Right, he called Kohberger an extreme narcissist with an overinflated ego. Kohberger's trial date is set for October and he has denied all accusations against him. Okay. So, my take on all this is, are people rushing ahead, moving a bit too fast compared to where the legal stuff is at this moment in time? I would say so. Like, from some of the articles I read, Kohberger is still being treated as a suspect, or at least the main suspect, that, they haven't reached like a true conclusion, that hasn't led to either Bryan Kohberger being released and then that's it, over and done with, or truly sent down and then that's it, or being put on death row. None of that's happened yet because these court trials are still pending and underway, and decisions going on in the background, reviewing stuff. So for others out there, right, to then start comparing Kohberger to serial killers that have already done what they've done and are serving their time, their sentences, it just doesn't seem comparable at this moment in time, because one's still pending ongoing and the others are from the past. You get what I'm saying? It's like jumping the gun in a way. I'd say, like, once Kohberger's either been found truly guilty or truly innocent, whichever one, then maybe the comparisons would start making more sense then. By making comparisons now, if there is any twist or turns down the line which could then jeopardize the case or add more suspicion towards other people out there being responsible, what does that do to Kohberger himself? I mean, you know the people that think that Kohberger is innocent. Share your thoughts down below. That's if people are present right now watching. Or if you join later or watch this video in a year's time or in a few months, whenever. If you strongly believe that Kohberger is innocent, do you feel that with going through all of this, being questioned, and then those making comparisons to you linking to other serial killers, will it do any damage or harm psychologically to Kohberger? Is it going to cause him any issues? I want to know your thoughts. Like, if I had to predict, okay, based off limited stuff I know of, if for whatever reason Bryan Kohberger was found innocent, not guilty, and he was released to the general public down the line, is he likely to relapse, to be under substance of drug usage as a form of coping, because of what's currently happening has messed him up in here? Is that a possibility, or is Kohberger strong-minded? He's not impacted or fazed by it at all. Just want to know your thoughts. Based on the condition, if he was found innocent, does what he's going through right now, is it going to impact him in any way in the future? Let me know your thoughts. He seems kind of calm, bit quiet, thinking it through, knowing what to say, what not to say, what to do next, possibly. I guess with that educational background, that does play a role and factor at times, where someone might have it under control. But, if Kohberger was released into the general public population again, like, how are people going to treat him? He's probably not going to be able to return back to what he was originally doing, wouldn't be accepted, or probably elsewhere either. So he's lost out on things, he's lost stuff, so he might resort back to old bad habits, which could backfire and have its own consequences on him or others too. That's if you're just thinking far ahead into the future. If that doesn't happen and he is found guilty, then what's done is done next. But to be comparing Kohberger to serial killers doesn't make any sense, because Kohberger isn't a serial killer, or at least at this moment in time, he isn't one, right? Kohberger may have studied serial killers, may have been influenced, interested by serial killers, methods, motives, etc. And he wanted to recreate, reenact, or it just gave him a bit of a fuel, energy, or a direction to head in with the way he was already feeling and thinking, whatever that motive was. Maybe that's why some people are doing those comparisons between that and that. But like the methods of killings and what the other serial killers would think of Kohberger just seems a bit unnecessary at this moment in time. But then again, it's probably because it's their job or they're doing their own research, so that's just what they do. It's their thing, it's their field, right? But I don't know, I think it's like rushing ahead a little bit. And as for BTK, do I notice any links there with him and Kohberger? Not really, personally. With Ted Bundy and Kohberger, I saw potential links, whether it be the facial expression. I know it's not much of one, but it's the first thing that came to my mind, as well as like maybe the educational background, getting involved in that stuff, criminology, psychology, being somewhat educated, right? But then again, there was that other article, the counter one, which was saying that Kohberger was nothing like Ted Bundy because of appearance-wise, that people didn't look up or like Kohberger in that sense, saying that he wasn't charming, but Ted Bundy was. Right. So is that why the direction has switched to the BTK comparison now? Because the Ted Bundy one has kind of been debunked. I don't know. More to do with personality rather than the action demonstrated, probably. They're talking about the attitudes, the ego, etc. Does anyone think that Kohberger, if guilty, if Kohberger's arrogance or ego led to him slipping up, making mistakes at any point? You think that's a possibility? But yeah, I think we'll just leave it there for now regarding those articles. What I do want to do now, and I'm not sure if I've actually done it before, but I know some people said that they like the map time going on Google Earth. We can actually do that now. I'm not, doing any voices or anything like that because we're tying it with the Idaho 4 case. And the other reason why I'm doing it in this format is because if it's like a new community or there's people out there that follow the Idaho 4 case, they won't understand me. They won't understand my coverage and when I split it down the middle. I know regular people watching will understand, and aside from cases, will have a good sense of humour. Outsiders won't know, and then it'll be twisted, turned, and then they'll try and make me look like a bad person. So we're not going to slip up there, right? But for context, we are going to look at the location of the crime scene because I just want to see if it's still blurred out. And I don't know, just look at the image because I swear that the wrong building was blurred out when I looked in the past, based off the photos what I saw in this article today. Anyway, we'll just go onto the map now and take a closer look, okay? Right, here we are. As for those markers, forget about them. That's to do with the Dylan Rounds case. I forgot that they're still on there. Just going to copy and paste. There we go. This should be the location. No photo popping up on screen, so no one's uploaded any of the area itself. Sometimes it did happen in the past, but there you go. You can see where the marker is, and this should be the correct spot. We will do the street view as well. Close that down for a second. Actually, do you know what I want to do? Anything at all? No. I just want to do this down here because when you get those 360-degree photos which people upload, just want to see what's the link here, if there is anything. Doesn't seem to be the case. Just overview of the area itself. What's that? Is that like a water tower? Looks like it. To do with the university, maybe? The ground looks pretty scorched, though. Because, you think about it, street view, the area might be blurred, will be blurred for obvious reasons. But if some people have uploaded their own custom photos, if they've been in recent time, it might show more. But that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. This is across the street, or the neighbourhood. Let's rotate it round. Where do we drop the marker? Let me just double check to make sure I'm in the correct spot. There we go. Place the marker there. Right, so this looks like old imagery. There we go. Right, fine, here we go. Right, so you can see the building there, where it's blurred out, of course. You can see the balcony round the back, and the woodland area. Did some people say that the woodland area around the back looked a little bit sketchy or something? I can't remember. Concealed or so? Yeah, range of cars. Just trying to think, was there a certain angle you could get? Maybe not. I think you can go down here and take a right. I don't know if that's actually possible, but I'm sure you could take a right somewhere. Is that the building over there? Is that the one? If it is, it's not blurred out from this angle. Kind of hard to match it up, to be fair. Click again. Yeah, it could be the one. Don't know when this photo was taken, if I'll be honest with you. It tends to be outdated normally, but still will be blurred out just for privacy reasons and respect. But is that the actual house itself in the background? Let me know. I'm just asking because it's kind of hard to see from this distance. Is it up this road you can go? Yeah, I think it is. Oh, maybe not. No. It's just weird because last time I checked, you could actually go onto the other side. That's actually weird, that. That is actually really weird. You could actually see it from a different perspective. Now, I wonder what would happen if you were on Google Earth Pro. Well, I just don't think it would work, would it? No, it wouldn't. Because with Google Earth Pro, to go back in time, you can't do Street View back in time. I mean, I think you can do Google Maps Street View back in time. Ow. I'm just sure that you could go down that road. I'm sure I did that last time. But then this is outdated. Some old looking buildings here, or at least when the photo was taken. It's a bit run down. Wow. There's vehicles there. I mean, it's a shame I couldn't get a better angle because I just wanted to narrate over it briefly. I'm a bit confused as to why. Can I not go further down that way? That's so weird. That is so weird. They've actually cut it off. And I know people will say, well, what do you expect? But like when I was looking at the case, and it must have been in 2023. Must have been in 2023. When I looked, yes, the building was blurred out, but there was another way to get down to the place, and you could see it from a different side. You could actually see the corner of the building and some blue tarp as well. But they've actually cut that out. They've actually taken it away, so you can't even get down the road now. So that's been updated ever since. That's very interesting. I wonder why they've done that when it was already blurred out. Unless it's because it was blurring out the wrong building. Because the photos, what we saw in this article today, I saw them up close on Google Earth previously in the past. And it was the building next door which was blurred. So did they blur out the wrong building at the time? I don't know. It's weird. Just won't let me... And I don't think there's any other way, is there? You know that road there? Yeah, so I'll describe it this way. That's the building, right? Where the crime scene took place. That wasn't blurred in the past. It was this building here that was blurred, and you saw a little bit of the balcony on the side. So what they must have done is blurred it from a certain angle on this road when you look at it across diagonally, but they've not they didn't blur out the road of Street View here when looking at it head on. I didn't get screenshots of it at the time either. But then again, I'm sure I've covered it. Do you know what? I'll get back to you on that. If after this little video clip ends, and I do find what I was talking about previously, I'll bring it up, okay? But there's no other way of looking at it. But then again, as I said, when you look through that gap, points straight at that house. So if I click here, you'll still be able to see it, as I said. So I was right. So that building over there in the background, where the crime scene took place, the crime itself, it's not blurred out from this angle. There you go. Let me know your thoughts. There is a car there parked up, but I don't know whose it is. This is obviously before the murder, of course. So I did try having a look, looking back at my previous videos, which I must have covered on the Idaho 4 case, and just doesn't seem to be there. The oldest video being 6 months ago, and I believe 6 months ago is when I did the very first video on the case topic. And yeah, I guess I just didn't include it in the footage looking at the maps. probably because there was no need to at the time, because I was like thinking, well, it's blurred out regardless, so what is the point? But if I knew back then that what was blurred was the wrong thing, then I could have analysed it. So that's unfortunate, that, but let me know if you've picked up on it in the past or any point. I noticed that the colouring of the camera, or something to do with the lightness, it looks very light coloured. I don't know if that's impacted the face or it's just the background, a bit odd. But just to refer back to, when I say about that glove, the DNA belonging to a male out there, where was the glove found? Which window? Front window, side window, back window? Which one exactly? And was it from the window on lower ground or from upper floor? The window, it fell out. I don't know, it just seems a bit weird, right? Leaving stuff behind, a bit reckless in a sense. But then again, I guess it depends how you look at it, if they're guilty or not. We'll leave it there for now. Just wanted to do a little summary roundup of these different news articles. Be sure to add in your additional comments down below, or if you've got questions too or grievances. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video or found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. For now, goodbye and good night.